If you have sticker shock for what you're paying for car insurance, trust me, you are not alone.
That's right. This year, the average cost for insurance is up more than 20%. And a recent survey shows that nearly half of customers are shopping for new policies. So could you be getting a better rate? Well, 12 News journalist Joe Dana recently discovered that even getting basic answers about your rates may not be easy.
As a reporter, I usually tell you about other people's experiences. But when I tried to get a breakdown of my own family's car insurance costs, it was such a baffling, bizarre series of conversations and contradictions. I asked an expert if my experience reflects a bigger problem. Navigating your auto insurance policy can involve twists and turns. But at the end of the road, you deserve to know whether you're paying for unnecessary or unexpected costs.
There are some things that you can do to have a better understanding to know when something is off.
Welcome to USAA.
I called up my car insurance company to get details about our family's rate. It seemed unusually high. We have 3 members in our household driving 3 cars. Insurance companies consider many factors like driving records, experience, and the car's make and model. In our case, one driver is a teenager, and this guy, unfortunately, had a minor traffic violation from 2021. A 4th family member had obtained his own insurance for his car and was out of the house. I spoke to 4 different employees over nearly 2 hours to try to figure out who was being charged what for which car and why the overall total was so high. It was like getting different directions leading to dead ends and detours.
This is the first time you're telling me after I've been on a phone with your company now for more than an hour and a half.
Finally, I learned my oldest son was still being counted in our rate plan, even though he wasn't driving our cars. Resolving that discrepancy saved us more than $100 a month. If I had not pressed for more answers, I would not have learned the true reason for our high rate.
How common is it for someone to get contradicting information?
There's very little transparency between the insurance company and policyholders. There's also very little transparency within the different departments of the insurance company.
Shannon Martin with Bankrate is a national expert on the insurance industry. She says it's tougher for consumers to get straight answers about their policies.
You're going up the chain of commands in customer service, not in underwriting.
That's because she says people who are familiar with the underwriting process are less likely than ever to interact with customers.
What's been replacing them is either AI or new agents. The amount of training has gone down drastically. So the impact to the policyholder, I believe, is really strong.
USAA tells me their goal is to provide personalized and accurate information on every interaction, saying USAA's call centers are appropriately staffed with thousands of highly trained professionals. We continually evaluate our service to refine operations and deliver a better experience to our members. And even after resolving our problem, what I could never get was a full breakdown of the entire policy. One manager I spoke with at USAA compared the rates from the underwriting team as a secret sauce.
The part about the secret sauce, that actually is true. Will you always be able to calculate why your insurance costs what it costs? No.
Martin says you should still request as much transparency as possible and arm yourself for the phone call. Write down questions beforehand and download your rate agreement and what's known as the class code.
And that's a way for you to kind of check them to make sure they haven't made any changes you're not aware of.
Regarding the underwriting process, USAA says they comply with strict state regulations that ensure fairness and transparency, and they add, they, like all insurance companies, protect their proprietary methods used to price risk, which help maintain competitive pricing and financial stability for policyholders.
Now, it goes without saying, if you still think you're being charged too much by your insurance company, get several quotes.
All right, Joe, and just there in that quote, USAA saying that they comply with state regulators. So what does state law require from insurance companies when it comes to transparency?
For example, you can't discriminate. You also have to abide by payout laws. The Department of Insurance, though, does say that the companies are not required to provide a full breakdown of rates. That's that secret sauce that the call center manager referred to when I was talking to him. However, it's common for insurance companies to provide a general breakdown. For example, it costs X to insure this model car, or Y for property damage coverage for a driver with a given profile. And the state provides a database of examples of rates for different profiles of drivers, so you can actually see how companies compare to each other here in the state. That can be a useful tool. It's at the Department of Insurance website. Bottom line here, if you're suspicious about the rate you are paying, it is worth pressing for specifics, maybe asking for a second or third employee. If you don't, you might continue paying more than you should.
All right. Never hurts to ask. Joe, thanks.